Good morning. Happy Tuesday. My name's Wendy Johnstone, and we are alive this morning. So thank you very much for being here with us today. Before we begin today's topic on contingency planning, sounds like a bit of a business term, doesn't it? We just want to make sure that everyone is aware of how to connect with us at Family Caregivers of BC. So we are available to answer your calls Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can always send us your questions and ideas for topics. We'd love to hear from you. It's always really helpful when we get feedback from family caregivers when they have a chance for new topics or ideas. It really helps keep us motivated and making sure that we're providing content that's most helpful for you as the viewers and listeners. We take your confidentiality really seriously and your privacy very seriously as well. We just want to remind people that these live sessions are open to anyone using Facebook, and so we're not able to take those steps to protect your privacy or the content that you share online or in this particular forum. We also just like to remind people that we do our best to keep these topics generic in the sense that we hope that they help provide a golden nugget to each of you, but they may not completely align with your values and preferences, but we do hope that you're able to find some nuggets of information or ideas to support you in your caregiving. And just a reminder to check our website regularly, to sign up for our newsletter, our social media feeds, as we do try to update that regularly, especially recommendations from public health guidelines and other supportive resources. So today we're talking about contingency planning, and I'm going to read a quote off my screen. And I thought it was a great quote by Randy Pouch. He says, another way to be prepared is to think a bit more on the negative side. So even though we can be great optimists, and I'm a great optimist, he talks about this idea of when we're trying to make a decision or we're trying to put a plan in place, we often think about the worst case scenario. I call it the eaten by wolves factor. If I do something, what's the most terrible thing that could happen? Would I be eaten by wolves? One thing that makes it possible to be an optimist is if you have a contingency plan for when all heck breaks loose. There are lots of things I don't worry about because I have a plan in place if they do. So that seems a little bit extreme, but the idea is that by creating a plan of what would take place in a worst case scenario, a caregiver's safety net, so to speak, can be formed and risks can be managed. Of course, within reason. There's no crystal ball of caregiving in life, and we can't possibly remove all the risk or think about everything. What it does, though, is it allows us this opportunity to think about ways for a backup plan. So pandemic or not, having a backup plan in case you become ill as a caregiver and can't provide care, or if you want to go away for a holiday, can be helpful to consider and to think about. So your backup plan will help to ensure the person that you're caring for continues to receive support, and it will also give you great peace of mind. I always like to reframe it. I'll ask a caregiver by saying, if you went on a holiday to a remote island for a week, what would you need to do, to clone yourself or to make sure the person that you're caring for almost didn't realize you weren't there? From the practical parts. Of course, they would miss every other parts of the caregiving piece. So some suggestions for contingency planning. Obviously, one of the most important places to start, if the person receiving care is able to provide actually able to provide that contingency planning with you, is to initiate that conversation with the person being cared for early on and their preferences in the event that you're not able to provide care or if you go on holiday. Discussing options for care by others, assistance with others, with non-medical activities, and also where they like to live once you're not able to actually support them in their own home, if that's where you're at, are really important topics to discuss. Decide who can step in if you or other family caregivers can't provide care. So you're going to want to look at all the areas you're currently providing care and support in. You want to expand your circle of care to include other family members, friends, or neighbors who may be able to help you. You may need to look at publicly funded services, private care, or nonprofit organizations in your community. You want to ask yourself if one person can handle the care or if it can be divided amongst other organizations or different people. Another really important area is understanding financial resources. So taking into account that sometimes there's going to be additional costs with increased care, even if it is publicly funded. For example, costs such as private care or help with housework and grocery shopping are all components to consider. Taking the time to research eligibility for financial tax credits can be helpful, or the differences between using publicly funded services or private services can also be helpful, and also those provided by nonprofit organizations. Document your care plan. So there is something really helpful about writing down a plan. Making it very clear is really helpful for the person stepping in or the organization stepping in. You can actually review your care plan with everyone who's involved, the person receiving your care, your backup team. There's a really good resource. Alzheimer's Society has a really good contingency plan template for download. So we'll make sure we'll put it in the comments below. Things that your care plan should include, all those basic information, key information around contact information for doctors and clinics and pharmacy and neighbors, home and key professionals, including case managers, etc. Information about the care recipient's condition, as well as medical history, allergies, and medical alert information. A schedule of regularly planned visits from other individuals who are providing care. It's really helpful to provide information about life history, likes and dislikes, to give a much more personalized approach to that. Things like current medication list, any specific directions around pet care, bill payments, and also this idea around direction around emergency care in terms of if there is an advanced healthcare directive in place. So a do not resuscitate, a next of kin, a power of attorney. We have also found that having a bit of a plan, especially right now during the pandemic, for greeting visitors in the home is really important. So we have we've set up a hand washing station and a hand sanitization mask station in clients' homes, and that's been helpful with sort of just a list of not to-dos, but guidelines to follow. The other thing that can be included in your contingency plan is creating a packing list of essential items in case the care recipient needs to go to hospital or respite. Leaving that with the contingency plan is also really helpful. So that's a bit of a Cole's Note version of contingency planning. Just a reminder that we're here at Family Caregivers of BC to support you. You can call our support line. All of our information is on our Facebook site on how to reach us. We're available Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can also take a look at being referred into more one-on-one support through our coaching service. If you're looking for some more hands-on support around contingency planning or helping to prioritize. We have some really great access to our caregiver support groups, both virtually. It's a great place for caregivers to share experiences and to share their knowledge. And so this idea of talking about contingency planning with other caregivers would be incredibly useful. Of course, we've got our podcast. Feel free to tune into that. And we've got some terrific resources and tools online to support strategies in caregiving on our website. So one action for consideration this month would be to think about checking in with your current contingency plan. Are you happy with it? Is it still relevant? What changes need to be made? Or maybe you want to start working on one. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.